So now it's time to do the wiring. What's good about Pathfinder wiring is that it's universal. You can put it in any truck. So this first part of the video, I'm just going to go over the general basics on what you're going to want to do to any truck to prep before running your wires. So you're going to want to, first thing is take this plastic cover off. You take these tabs out with a screwdriver or whatever, flathead. After that, you're going to want to pop the grill off, and then finally you're going to want to pop these lights out to splice into the parking and directional. So I'm going to do one side and then one light, and then I'll show you how to do the other side. So at this part, I just run the harness for the lights first. This part where the switch hooks up to, you're just going to want to run it, in line to where you're going to go through the firewall. These yellow and blue wires are for blinker in parking, directional on parking. Yellow is for parking, blue is for blinker. So you're going to want to run them obviously going towards each light. Sometimes you'll have to run an extension wire, but not all the time. So I'm just going to go over running or splicing into the directionals and parking. So obviously you're going to want to do each side independently. I just run a directional, and then you just test light it with your test light. You figure out which bulb it is. You pull some of the harness cover off, and then you just test light which wire is directional. So here it's the yellow. So this is a wire you're going to splice lock into for your directional. We use these are pretty cheap. I usually throw some dielectric grease in here. Some of them come with dielectric grease already, and there's a million different kinds. You can use whichever you prefer. Now that the headlight harness is tied into the headlights, the next step is hooking up the control harness. So that runs in through the driver's side out of the bumper or grill. Harness runs in through the firewall, and then you got your brown and black wire. Black wire is for power. This black wire is going to be sent over to the battery, wherever your battery is, to a fusible link to the positive terminal. And then your brown wire is run to wherever you're going to bolt your solenoid, which is going to be close by to your battery. So you want to keep in mind where your solenoid is going to be and where your battery is for running these two different wires. Alright, So harness is run, and here I got that black wire I was telling you about tied into this fuse link. That's going to go right here to power. And you don't have to worry about power loss or anything like that, because the remote is a timeout remote. So now you also have the brown wire right here. I'm placing the solenoid here. You don't necessarily have to actually bolt it anywhere. I'm bolting it. That's what I usually do, but it technically doesn't need to be bolted because it's not a body ground solenoid. This post right here is for ground, so you run a ground wire from this post to your negative terminal on the battery. This post here, farthest away from the mounting plate, is for your brown wire going to your harness. And then whichever bolt is closer to the battery, you just run your short cable, like a short cable like this, to your positive terminal, and then whatever post is closer towards the grill or bumper, you run your cable going out to your grill for the plow. So in this case, since I'm bolting this on here, it's going to be easier to hook up all the wires on the posts of the solenoid before I bolt it. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll bolt it on and then reassemble this whole air filter thing going on here. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Alright, so red power cable is run through. So you can see, this power cable going out to the grill, this power cable going out to your positive terminal. This wire is for grounding the solenoid. And then this wire is for the harness. So that's what it's going to look like. So next step is running your harnesses through the firewall. So in this Ford, it's right here. And sometimes you got to pull from the engine bay. Other times you can just push it through the cab. So in this case, you literally just push it and it pops out. And you can snake your harnesses through here. So sometimes these ground cables don't reach the battery as they are stock, so you just have to run an extension. You just bolt it on and run it over. So that's what we're going to do here. So once you have the control harness run through the firewall, I just take about, you want your plug to be just about exposed, to disconnect whenever they want, the customer. So I zip tie it somewhere around here, on the right side here, and once you have it zip tied, you can just pull the extra slack out from the engine bay. After that, you gotta run your ground wire for the controller through the firewall and over to the negative post of the battery. So that's how you're going to want your control harness plug to be mounted. Now, after that is the headlight switch. Now, the way we run these lights for the plow lights, high beam, low beam, it's just through a three-way toggle. So, depending on the truck, if there's aux switches, you know, we tap into those, or that's suggested. Otherwise, we just run the light switch that comes with the plow kit. You gotta find a space somewhere in your dash to mount it, or under your dash. But it's basically like running a light bar, you know. It's just a three-way toggle. So that's what it looks like. And what comes with the light harness is a red wire for high beam, a black wire for low beam. So you're gonna want it plugged in like this, you know, on either side of the switch, and then you want to use the center spare for providing power, which you can run straight to the battery, but it's better to run it through key activated fuse, so your lights shut off when you turn your key off. So I'll show you what this looks like when it's all set. So your light switch should look something like this, you know. It's flush and clean. Just make sure that, you know, you mark your hole well, so that you only drill once and it works. So for that headlight switch, to make it so that it's key activated, you know, when you take the key out, automatically turns the lights off, so you don't kill your battery. Ford, at least the 250s, or the Ford Super Duties, the newer ones at least, offer a fuse. This fuse is specifically for a snowplow. That's what it says in the manual fuse diagram. So I just put an add a fuse, you know, you see right here. You can make sure you got the right one by you know checking the diagram, and also test lighting it with the key on, with the key off. So I'm going to show you what this looks like with the fuse box covered and everything like that. What I do is I just drill a hole somewhere approximately lined up right above where the fuse is going to be, and then I run the wire through with a connector. That way you know, you can hook it up. So as you can see, I got the connector on there. I already tested with the test light, so it is getting power. And like I said, you got the wire through, so I'm just gonna snake this through. And this is just for the lights. The harness you can run, like I said, here right through, because the controller is has a battery timeout. There you go. Alright, so at this point we can hook up everything to the battery. What I like to do is I like to ground everything first. So I take the bolt off the terminal. I mean, this is a brand new truck, but sometimes you'll see some corrosion. I always spray it down and clean it first. So like I said, I'll do ground first. So you got the ground for your motor for the plow, you know, that black plug. And then you got, unfortunately I ran out of black cable, so these browns are grounds. So you got ground for your motor on the plow, for the plow. You got a ground for your controller. You got a ground for your solenoid. And in this case, these are a different style set of lights than the usual. The usual lights are body ground. These are more high-end lights, so they do come with a wire ground in order to function, so the lights are grounded as well. So I'll ground all that stuff, and then after that you got power for your solenoid. this cable going to power, and then you have your harness to your controller power. Like we said, the fuse for the lights is already powered through the fuse box. So once that's all hooked up, you know, we'll zip tie everything and then throw a fuse in there. Now that you got everything hooked up and the fuse plugged in, just plug in your controller and turn it on with the on switch at the top. Should illuminate a green light. This will tell you that you're getting power. And then you just want to hit the buttons to make sure the solenoid works. And then float, you hold for 3 seconds, 2 seconds till the red light turns on. So, everything looks good.